This is part 2 of Straight Outta Debt. Some of this you're going to hear me from last week if you was here, but I just want to do this so that we can stay, want to continue this. So let me tell you what debt is, okay? Debt is something that is owed or that one is bound to pay to another. It's an obligation to pay or render something and the condition of being under such an obligation, okay? So that's nothing new. Everybody knows that. But I want you to understand, I'm going to make some statements. Debt is financial bondage. Debt is financial bondage. I don't see debt as my friend. As a matter of fact, debt is considered by many the new slavery. When the Bible says that the rich rule over the poor and the borrower become a servant to the lender, and I told you the CEV says that the borrower become slaves to the money lenders. This was written by a man that was rich and powerful, Solomon. And so he understood that principle. And we live in a time now where so many of us are dealing with debt. And I'm going to tell you why that is from my perspective. And maybe you have a better perspective or a different one. But what we did last Tuesday, for those who were here, we did Q&A, and also people gave some wonderful information. And I think it went very well. But I want you to understand that we're not talking about just personal debt. We're talking about debt that is more systemic. Debt is systemic and less personal. There are systems to keep you in debt. It's designed to keep us all in debt. And some of us are not aware of it, and so that's what I want to talk about, okay? Now, you have to understand that there is enough for everyone, believe it or not, on the planet. Amen. But because we have people who are greedy, they're not going to believe, they don't believe in sharing. And they can never be satisfied with enough money. The Bible says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And so you do have, what we have greedy moneylenders lure the uninformed into debt, which has become an instrument of bondage only one step removed from outright slavery. But the people are greedy. And we don't know that because we don't have that kind of money. We don't have that kind of income. Y'all heard of the term, the rich get richer? And the poor get poorer? Well, that's a true statement. In the period following World War II, there were full employment and high wages for working people, combined with high taxes for the rich. The rich were paying their share of taxes. Too much is given, too much is required. And what it did, it created what we call the middle class. America, at one time, was the only nation that had a middle class. You either had rich and poor in other nations. America, after World War II, created a middle class because the rich was paying their share. They were not overtaxing the people who didn't have much. So for a historically brief period, debt slavery was relatively rare in a lot of communities, at least for white people. Okay? Now, then Wall Street, these fundamentalists, these elitists, they realized that they could make more money if they got control. So they gained control of Wall Street. And then they began to weaken unions, and then they began to outsource a lot of jobs, factory jobs. And as they outsourced these jobs to nations that they was barely paying them enough to live on. And there was no unions, and they didn't pay all those taxes. So those jobs became more overseas. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I just tried to call and get some business taken care of, and I'm talking to a person that you know that they were not in America. And I'm trying my best to communicate with them. And of course, they are scripted on what to say and what to read. And so, but a lot of those jobs are outsourced because they're looking to make as much money as they can. And so when that happened, what they did when they outsourced those jobs, it created a downward pressure on wages. And at the same time, they began to use what we call sophisticated advertising. And the advertisement was to promote an extravagant lifestyle that the only way you'll be able to enjoy it is that you use credit cards to finance it. So we still see advertisement coming across the TV, wanting this, buying this, living here, driving this, wearing this, and the jobs that used to be able to pay you a decent salary are gone, and so now what you have is a lot of jobs that just able to pay, and even now we have a lot of jobs that are temps. I'm still surprised with the way things are. Like, it's going to be a thing of the past where people work 30-some years and retire. That's going to be a thing of the past. And sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm not trying to put them down. I'm like, what happened to those jobs where you work and give your service and get your seniority and save up your money and build up your retirement, and then you retire on the same job? But this is a thing, it's becoming a thing of the past. Amen? Amen. And so what I'm saying is the goal that they have, one of them is to have you still trying to live as if those jobs are still here. Yeah, as if they're still here. Those jobs are not, a lot of them are not here anymore. But so in order for us to try to live as if we're still middle class, we charge finance. Okay? As wages continue to fall relative to the cost of living, Wall Street began to promote credit cards and mortgage debt. That's the solution. Credit cards. You want to have all this wonderful time? You want to enjoy this? You can enjoy it. Let's give you credit cards. And some people responded out of sheer desperation for this credit. And it could have been for to put food on the table, something that's really necessary. But you got innocent people who just didn't know. They simply bought into the Wall Street entitlement, or not entitlement, but enticement, the American dream. And so they believe that I can consume now and pay later. And this is the American dream that they sell us, and we buy into it. And so we get to experience a lot of those things, but we pay them for the rest of our lives. And thanks to Wall Street control of our now political system, and I don't think anyone who really keep up with some of this have any doubt about it, this kind of indentured servitude, which is slavery, is mostly not just legal, but it's also enforced by the legal systemic, that favors the right of property over the rights of people. So that's why you'll see where they don't care about people. They want to make sure that these people's property are taken care of. And it is definitely a plan to erode the middle class. And that's why you see, even in this present administration, there are a lot of tax breaks going to the wealthy. And we are told that we're getting a tax break, but we're really not. You have to see how they do it. They give it to you on one end, but on the other end, which we don't see, they're actually taking it big time. And so that's when the Bible says, this is what the writer said, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower become a servant to the lender, or to the money lenders. Thus, the rich get richer, and the poor get poorer. So, Charlotte sent me something. I don't have it in detail, but this is what it's something like this that she sent me. That there was this pastor that was teaching on debt elimination, how to get out of debt. And he said it was so sparsely attended. And the people who wanted to get out of debt didn't want to come and hear that. But when he did a service where it was going to be debt cancellation, where God is going to cancel the debts. The place was packed. And what she was saying, what the message was, that a lot of people want certain things. They want. I don't think anyone wants to be in debt. I don't think no one here in their right mind. Now, if you want to be in debt, then I'm going to just assume you're not in your right mind. However, I didn't say you weren't. I say I'm assuming that. Maybe I'm not in my right mind because I hate debt. So, but I know that this is something that should be taught as soon as children are able to read and write. It should be taught in our school system. It should be. And I hope people like Shimon and some of the other young people who are, hopefully they are listening, because this information I'm giving you, I didn't have it available to me. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but it wasn't. I didn't know anything about this information. And so I realized I was playing a game that I couldn't win because I didn't know the rules. So y'all know what I'm saying. If you're going to play the game, you better learn the rules. So I did something really, really strange. I began to start reading and seeing, how do the wealthy people play this game? And then I see. So I can't play their game, but if I learn the rules, I can know the traps that they're sitting. And the only thing I can do is come back and tell you. But again, that's all I can do, is tell you the traps that I see, or the traps that I fell into. I don't have a problem with telling you about some of the mistakes I made. Not because I'm trying to look for pity or sympathy, but I'm saying that I didn't know. I just didn't know. And I told you before about my situation. I don't want you to think that I've been knowing this. I had to read it. I had to study it. And then for me to start trying to dig my way out of debt, it took me a while. But I had to change your mindset. See, you have to understand what is the goal of the rich people. Well, for us, this is what they want us to do. Their goal is to make the borrowers feel comfortable with being in debt. That is okay. It's not a problem, because that's just a way of life. And I say, is that right? Do they live in debt? They're not in debt. But they tell us it's okay to be in debt. And I say, nah. I say, you benefiting from me being in debt. Just like I mentioned about certain things about Black Friday. I know that people are going to go out and shop. They're going to get good deals. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling you to shop. I'm just saying, but somebody's going to look and see when they're spending that money or getting ready to, do I really need this? Is it a need or is it a desire? And some people, again, don't see a problem with debt. And so that's why I asked a question last week, and the same question, how do you perceive debt? If you don't see a problem with debt, then it's okay. I don't have a problem with it either. Because some people see debt as being normal. Debt may be considered normal to some people. All right? So let me tell you what I think, what normalization of debt is. What is the normalization of debt? And here is my definition. It's the process through which poor spending habits are made to appear socially and culturally accepted as normal. Poor spending habits. Buying stuff that we may not even need, just to try to keep up, or say we have it, or we got the latest this, or we got the best, or we got the, it's like with I got a laptop at home that it definitely needs to either go in the shop or get a new one. It's old. It is, and it's making all this little noise. I say, man, I gotta get me a new laptop, or else I'm gonna lose all my stuff, and they may not be able to recover it. And that thing making all kind of noise. It's like, y'all have problems with that? Yeah, mine is making all kind of noise. And it's telling me, you better replace me. And so I have to get me a laptop. But my point I'm trying to make is that I'm the kind of person that I don't want to lose my stuff, Brother Gary, but I don't want to buy something if my other stuff still works. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, and I'm not cheap, so don't play. That's too cheap. I am prudent. But when you see people who are, they spend and they say, well, everybody does this. So that's the whole process. That's what they want you to do. They want you to believe that this is normal. And so if it's culturally and socially accepted as normal, then you say, everybody I know is in debt. So let's talk about the purpose of debt. The purpose of debt is used by many businesses, organizations, and individuals as a method of making large purchases that they could not afford under normal conditions. Okay? All right? Now, of course, you need a good line of credit, right? Nothing wrong with that. You know what good credit means? That we have good experience in borrowing. We have a lot of, we good at paying back. That's all it means. Good credit means you're good at paying back what you borrow. The money, yeah. Bad credit means you're irresponsible paying. So that's what credit means. That's what you're paying your debt. And some people say, well, I have to have some debt in order for me to get good credit. That's true to a certain extent, but that don't mean you have to keep your credit cards maxed out. See, I use credit cards quite often. I use it for purchasing things. You got to buy airline tickets, and it's nothing wrong with that. But I have a plan that when the bill comes, then I pay the whole thing off. There have been some times where I had to make like a couple of payments, a payment 1 month, a payment the next month to pay the whole thing off. But I used to carry credit charges and debt and pay minimum payment. And it was killing me, but I didn't know it because I felt like, hey, they ain't gonna bother me for another 30 days, so I ain't worried about it. But I had to learn. See, debt or credit allows the working class to purchase or experience things only affordable to certain people, a certain class of people. And so that's what that is. That's so you can go places and you can charge it and experience it and have a good time, but you have to pay for it later on. We can buy cars, and that's nice to be able to buy homes. That's real nice to be able to do that. Because sometimes you talk about 30-year mortgages, I don't know where I'm going to live if I'm trying to get me a house for 30 years. So I don't have a problem with that. But it's good, especially Shaman, young people, listen. It's good to get in the habit of developing good credit so that even if you did decide you want to buy you a house at a certain age, that you qualify for a low interest rate. Because some people, they do stuff and they don't know because they listen to the person who's going to make money on them and tell them to get adjustable mortgages. Which means that they may start off with a 3%, but it's adjustable. And before you know it, that rate may go up to 10%. And you sign an agreement. So you have to understand the difference between fixed and adjustable. There are certain things that many of us didn't know, and we get into debt, get into all kind of problems. And so again, I don't want you to think that I'm saying that don't get in no kind of debt, because it's the way the system is designed. You almost have to use certain debt. Okay, certain credit. So that sets me up for this next statement. Debt can be used as a tool if handled responsibly. But you see, I got something coming after that. But debt should never become a permanent condition. You should never see this as, even if you have a 30-year mortgage on your house. I don't know about this reverse mortgage, so I'm not going to even get into that. But I do say that I would encourage you to try to, even if you do have a mortgage, if you can, maybe talk to someone who got more information than I do, but try to pay it all down or something. Because people say, if you got a house, if you're buying a house, that's an asset. And I say, really? So if they come and you have to liquidate everything, is that house yours? No, it really isn't an asset. You have to look at that, okay? And I'm going to change subjects a little bit because I want you to understand something. I have found out something about talking to people who really don't have a problem with debt. And I'm not trying to convince you that you should. I'm not trying to convince you to get out of debt. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. But I found out something about just listening to people, and I realized that debt to some people can become an addiction. Addicted to debt. There are people who are. They're addicted to debt. They're addicted to stuff. Material things. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Amen. So, what is debt addiction? Good question. So, debt addiction is using debt as a quick fix for purchasing or solving financial problem by borrowing without any goals or plans for eliminating that debt. When you are addicted to you may be able to pay cash for something, but you want to save that and spend what somebody told me a long time ago, and I listened to them, but I didn't realize they didn't know what they was talking about. They called it other people's money. They said, you're spending other people's money. That's not your money. And so I actually listened to it because I didn't know anything about it. Until I learned that wasn't other people's money, that was my money. Yeah, I was borrowing it, but I was not only paying back what I borrowed, but I was paying that lender back more from using their money. And I got to a point, I said, I don't like this. I don't like this. But I got caught in it, and I got trapped in it. And before I knew it, folks, I'm telling you, I was so caught up into debt, and I didn't know how I got in it. It was so easy to get into it, but it was real hard to get out of it. So I started looking to pay everything with credit cards because I didn't understand interest rates. I didn't understand how all this stuff worked. I didn't understand it. I didn't know the rules. I played a game. I couldn't win because I didn't know the rules. And so I felt like, hey, if I can buy this, if I can afford this, then that's good. But I couldn't afford it. I didn't know I could afford it. I thought I could afford it because they told me I can charge it. So I felt like if I charge it and I got it and then pay minimum payment, I can afford it. And that's where a lot of us, we get caught up into that. Amen? Amen? And I didn't have any plans on eliminating debt. I didn't have any goals. I didn't even consider eliminating debt. You know why? Because debt was normal. Everybody I knew had debt. So it was normal. Every time you talk to somebody, man, I got to pay this. Me too, man. Man, I got to pay this big old house note. Me too. Man, the credit card company talking about cutting off mine too. So I feel like, hey, well, shoot, we all in the same boat. Amen. So I didn't feel strange. I didn't feel like, hey, I felt like, hey, we all. And everybody lived in my neighborhood probably was in the same condition because they lived in the same kind of circle, running the same circle I'm running into. Amen. So we all on the same level, so they couldn't tell me anything because I didn't know, they didn't know. So we both telling each other the same thing. Well, what you need to do. And so we start trying to. How many of y'all? Now, you don't have to admit this. But how many of you all have ever tried to borrow your way out of debt? I used to try to do that. It didn't work. Not for me. Now, if it worked for you, I want to talk to you after church. But it didn't work for me. I tried to borrow. I felt like, I could borrow and pay this. And how do you used to say that? Rob Peter to pay Paul? Well, I didn't do that. I was robbing Peter and Paul. Hey. So I want to get into something that we're going to be talking about here that I know is going to happen this season. Compulsive spending. Now, I'm going to say this is not just for ladies, because you'll be surprised. There are some brothers, amen, they may not do it the way you do it. But there are some brothers that they just spend, they're compulsive spenders too. Compulsive shoppers. There are some that do that. Me, I don't happen to be that way. I can walk in a store And if I don't see what I want, I'm fine. I can walk out of there and I'll walk out the same way I came in. Amen. I'll walk out through the entrance. Really? Because I didn't buy nothing, so I ain't worried about nothing. Oh, you don't have this? Okay. And some people feel like, I gotta buy this. Okay, listen, ladies. Because I'm going to get to me a little later. Have you ever went into a place and you just felt like, well, I came here, I need to want to buy, I got to buy something. Have you ever felt that way? Some of y'all don't want to admit it. Okay, y'all. But I don't feel that way. Some brothers do that. They go to a hardware store, they go to Lowe's or whatever, and they got to buy something. Well, I'm going to pick up this wall here. If I don't see what I won't walk with nothing. I don't need to buy anything. Amen. Hallelujah. Anyhow. So, let me help you out. We'll talk about compulsive spending and shopping. You don't have to use drugs or alcohol to be an addict. For example, pleasurable activities such as watching TV, playing computer games, overeating, overspending, what it does, it activates the brain's reward center, which is the central nervous system, and it stimulated the release of dopamine, or dopamine. Y'all heard of that, right? Okay? What happens is that this dopamine, it triggers feelings of pleasure and reward similar to those associated with drug use. Thus, you can get high without taking drugs. There are some people that they can go shopping and they can, let me tell you, okay, I'm going to use Cheryl for an example. This is not negative. No, it's not negative. I don't do that. I'm saying, I used to watch Cheryl shop. I couldn't understand. She used to love to shop. And sometimes I would go with her. And so I'm following her around the store. And she's going in this department. Sometimes I can't see her because she get behind something. Where'd she go? She didn't change directions. All I have to do is stop and look around. Next thing I know, she is gone. And I don't know where she is half the time. So I find myself saying, where did that girl go? And I'm looking, and then finally I see her. And then I catch up with her, and I'm thinking, man, I need to put a bell around her, because And then she look her looking at stuff, and you know what she says? Oh, this is so ugly. Look at this. I say, you gonna buy it? No. Well, why are you looking at it? And there are people, like somebody could be standing behind her, and she's looking at something. And she started bagging up. She don't have bumpers in the back. She don't have, she don't have bag of lights. She can't see behind. And I said, sure, watch this person. It's like everybody become invisible, including me. So she's just going, and she's just gone. And you know what? I'm in shape, but I got tired. I did. I say, you know what? I'm going to go sit out at the time this when they had all these, malls. I go sit out in the mall, and I say, I'll be right here. But she be in shopping heaven. I mean, she be, yeah, she, shop till you drop. And I drop before she drop. How many of you all ladies love to shop like that? She got shoppers high. She be tired until she get there. And then when she get there, all of a sudden she gone. Come on, ladies, y'all can tell me. Some of y'all get shoppers high, right? You get excited about going shopping, right? And don't see something cute. Oh, you want everybody. Oh, ain't this so cute? Oh, look at that. And look at this. And I can wear this with that. And I got some shoes. And if I don't, I see some shoes over here I can get anyway. And I'm sitting there like, where you got all this money you shop with? My point I'm trying to make is that there are some people who can get high without using drugs. Do you know there are some guys that can get high going to certain places? Some of these, I guess, Sam's, Loaves. Now, I have to tell you, I've been believing God that they put a Menards up here. Old Jamestown Mall used to be. I pray they put a Menards up there, especially since Lowe's is going to be gone. Yeah, so I'm believing God will answer my prayer in Jesus' name. Put a Menards up there. But I like Menards. I do. But my point is that there are certain things, so I don't want to put it all on sure. There are certain things that I enjoy, okay? But you can get a high on stuff without using drugs because it releases something in there, okay? And you can enjoy it. And so what happens, folks, is that as with drugs, here's the thing, as with drugs, like crack cocaine, the first time you do crack, you get that high, and then you have to keep doing it, try to get that high again. And as with drugs, it takes more and more spending to trigger that dopamine surge over time. So you're constantly trying to reach that high again, trying to get that high, so you just shop and shop and shop. There are some people that are addicted to home shopping. They can't watch a home shopping without buying something. I'm not talking to anybody. Nobody? Y'all gonna be quiet on me now, okay? So compulsive spending ends up chasing a dopamine high, just as heroin users might chase the next heroin high or the next heroin fix. This is real. This is real. The happy feeling associated with compulsive buying can provide welcome relief from depression, anxiety, or boredom. I'm bored. I'm going shopping. People do that when they eat. I'm bored. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm feeling down. I'm going to get something to eat. See, so spending, overeating, all these things are addictive. Okay? So these are the things I'm trying to get you to understand, that when you try to explain to someone that you're going to have to learn how to change your spending habit, do you know it's almost like telling a drug dealer you got to give up those drugs. Because that's a high. They enjoy, many people enjoy that kind of stuff. I was explaining, anybody here used to smoke cigarettes? Anybody that was hooked on cigarettes? I was addicted to nicotine. Okay? So I understand when I try to explain to someone, if someone never smoked, how do you stand on those stinking stuff? I say, well, you never smoked. I say, so you'll never understand it. I don't understand how they smoke those stinkers. Yeah, they stink now because I don't smoke, but they didn't stink when I was smoking them. Not to me. Everybody else be doing that, but it didn't bother me. And let me tell you something. When I was ready to quit, that was one of the toughest things in my life. I struggled with that. I struggled big time with that. I used to throw away cigarettes. Packages, I'll buy a package, and I'll quit, I'm going to quit. And then I started looking in my ashtray for cigarette butts. Anybody ever done that before? Just talk to me. Yeah, so, so some of you who didn't, and those things be strong, and they stink after they sit in the ashtray for a while. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Okay, so it was hard for me. It was hard. And I struggle with that. So I don't want you to think that when we talk about giving up something, that, oh, it's easy to say it and done. I know that. But I'm trying to tell you that there are no easy ways to break addictive habits. Yes, whether it's food, whether it's games, whether it's whatever it is, you find some type of comfort in it. But if you know that it's detrimental to you, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And this is what this ministry is all about. I can't sit here, and I have to tell you that. I can't sit here and pray that your debt be canceled. I can't sit here and pray that you will stop eating so much. I can't sit here and pray that you will get your... I'll pray for you, but you have to do it. There is no one can do that but you. You have to get tired of it. When I made a statement last week and I say, I hate debt, I'm telling you, I actually got to the point where I'm passionate about this. I hate paying interest on stuff. I hate paying late fees. I hate paying parking ticket or a moving violation, that's like I'm giving money away. I don't have money to give away. I hate that. I was down in Clayton one time, and I had to go to court and come out. They had the little thing on my window, and I said, "Oh God, I gotta give them some money." That's the way I look at it. Give them some money. And I was coming out to put some money in there. I said, "I ain't putting nothing in there now. I already got the ticket. I'll pay for this spot." I should have leave it here overnight. But once they don't charge me, get my money's worth. My point I'm trying to make. Now, some of you all may think that that's being a miser. Listen, folks, I'm telling you, you got to see that stuff as this is taken away from your hard-earned money. It's stealing from you. It's robbing you. And you got to get to, that ain't nothing but a $5 fine. Listen, I'd rather pay a $5 tip to somebody to serve me some food than to give that money away. Because I feel like, oh man, they're taking money from me. I got a ticket one time with these camera lights, these photos. I hated it. I had to pay $100 twice. And then come to find out it was illegal. They should have paid me $200 plus interest. You know what they gave me? $10. I'm serious. Anybody ever got a ticket? You got what? How much they give you back? They give you. I got $10 back. My brother Henry Long told me, "Pastor, you ain't got to pay that." Didn't you tell me that, Henry? But he had connections. Somebody told him you ain't got to pay it, but they can't enforce it. And I'm thinking, nah, Henry, I'll come down and bring you. I'll put some money on the books for you when you go to jail. I can't afford to go to jail, man. But he was right. But then, listen, all of a sudden, they stopped doing it, right? Now, how many of you all got an apology or whatever, or even explained? Nothing. I asked another question. It bothers me. Every time they say I got to get a small, for my car, test, I say, they don't do that in Illinois. Yeah, but they do it in Missouri. I said, oh, okay, so the air knows that it can't go over in Missouri. So, Granite City right over here. Alton right over here, right? So the guy over there said, oh, we can't go over in Missouri because they got the clean air thing going on. You understand what I'm saying? It's taking money, hard-earned money. And then someone later on come up and say, okay, we're going to change this legislation. All right, I want all my money back. When the housing market crashed, I'm telling you, and they still charging me the same real estate taxes. I said, wait a minute. I said, you all saying my house not worth this anymore. Why are you still charging me the same taxes? I had to call and complain, and they actually lowered my taxes. I say, I'm paying taxes for stuff that you said is no longer valued. I better lower my taxes. And they did. Sometimes we don't challenge people. They take advantage of us. So when I get to that point, I'm saying, oh no. And I'm in my warrior spirit now. And that's what I do. That's how I feel. I say, no, y'all gonna do something. I'm serious. It ain't so much, it is the money, but it's the fact that y'all getting us either way it goes. You got us coming and going. We can't even do the money. It's legal. We'll go to jail if we don't pay. When y'all get income tax back, and if they say, well, we having a problem, so we can't send your money back when we say, right? They don't give you interest. No. Is that right, Cal? Cal used to work at IRS. They give you interest if they pay your return rate? Yeah. They never gave me interest. I got to talk to you. They owe me. Because if I pay them late, they charge me. I just can't, anyway. Let me show you some other addiction. Y'all want to hear some other signs of addiction? Y'all sure? Yes. Okay, y'all be glad y'all came. One of them is constantly boring. Why are you always boring? I'm telling you, can I ask a question? Do you ever get mail where they say you qualified to get this kind of money? You know where it goes? And I found it in the round cabinet. Y'all don't know what a round cabinet is? Yeah, trash can. That's right. I put it right in the trash can. I say, yeah, I didn't ask to borrow no money. And then back in the day where I needed some money, what were you all that did? you weren't nowhere to be found. Look, I couldn't be trusted back then. So now I can be trusted. Oh, now you good, you got a good credit grade, we're going to lend you some money. No, you're not. You mean the Burton, that's what you're looking for. You ain't looking for me. No. So some people borrow, and they're constantly borrowing because, oh, they can give me a good credit card. Why you get another credit card? You can't even pay the one you got. Well, that way I can get something, just in case of an emergency. I say, are you going to have an emergency? Well, no, but just in case. I say, yeah, right. That's just another way of saying, ooh, they got this on sale. I'm going to get this. This in an emergency. Then you have people who maximize credit cards. So they'll pay their credit card down. Let's say if they have a credit card for $1,500, they get it down to $1,300. Oh, I got $200 now. I can spend. We are smiling and laughing, but there are some people who actually think like that. You know how I know? Because I used to think like that. Living paycheck to paycheck, which don't even bother them. Well, we got enough to make it to the next paycheck. That used to drive me up the wall, Reverend B. That used to drive me up the wall. I got to mess with Cheryl again now. I used to get paid every other week at the post office. And I would give Cheryl so much money because she would handle the finances. And so I knew at the first of the month that was going to be most of the heavy bills. And so in the middle of the month, so we don't have that many. So I'll say, okay, here's the money for the rest of the bill. She said, that's not enough. I said, yeah. I said, we had this, we had that. She said, oh. I said, what's wrong? She said, I thought that was extra. I said, extra? We can't afford extra. No, that was for this. And so that's what we were doing for a long time. We were living from paycheck to paycheck. We used to stock up on stuff. And I say, why are you buying all those paper towels? They don't sell them. I said, but we got a whole thing of paper towels. We don't need any more. But that's just so we won't run out. We got plenty. I said, girl, you got enough to open up a paper towel store. You right? Well, but but they ain't gonna be on sale on the panel. I said, but if we get hard, we can eat those paper towels. Paycheck to paycheck. Then here's another addiction. Never planning for the future. Never planning for the future. You have to plan. It ain't gonna happen because you want it to happen. I know this might mess up some of your religious thinking. It ain't gonna happen because you're praying for it to happen. You gotta put something, you gotta plan. Yes. And then you have to work your plan. It ain't gonna happen just because you love God. God loves you even if you're broke. God loves you even if you're in debt. There is nothing you can do to stop God from loving you. God loves the poor. But He give us principles. He give us people to teach those principles. People live out those principles and say, okay, here's what we need to do. But many of us, we don't want to do those things because it means we got to change. Which brings me to this. People who are unwilling to change in order to pay creditors. I say this sometime, and I don't want you all to get condemned. But if it convicts you, it's not because of me, it's because it's the truth. This is my own personal testimony. When I got saved, I really got convicted about not being able to pay my debt. Okay? And I remember when I was trying to get a loan to buy, I forgot what I was trying to buy. I was trying to get something. And this guy made me feel so small because I didn't have the right credit to get the loan. And so they were trying to get me to try to get somebody to co-sign. I said, no, I ain't gonna get no, I'm not gonna ask no one to co-sign. And so he said, well, the only way you can get this loan, you're gonna have to co-sign. And he was telling me how bad my credit was. And I felt bad. But yet I'm saved. I love God. But this man don't even know me, but he's telling me, I can't trust you. You're a man of God, you say. I mean, I'm not saying he's saying this, but this is what I'm thinking. You're a man of God, but here's the person who don't even trust you because you haven't honored your agreements. And those agreements that I made wasn't because my job downsized. It wasn't because of something happened. It wasn't because the devil came in. It wasn't because of God with help. It was because of my choices, my lack of knowledge. And I'm telling you, that's what happened. I know that some people have different things. You have unexpected illnesses. Some things happen in your life, or people go through divorces and the finances, job downside, or one person lose their job, and you got one income now. I understand all of that. So I don't want you to get condemned from that. But I am saying that my situation was not that. My situation was I just didn't use wisdom. And I was so hurt that I'm sitting here as a grown man, love God, and this man was playing games with me because I couldn't do nothing about it because I could not pay my debt because I got into bad habits. And it was hard for me to break those habits. You ever heard this saying, man, I dropped him like a bad habit? I said, you didn't drop him then. You know how hard it is to break bad habits? Yeah. Now, if you say you dropped him like a good habit, then I say, oh, well, you dropped him really right away. Hard things that we deal with. When someone, we get defensive of it. If someone says something that really kind of, like if someone say, you should be eating that pie, man, you're already overweight. We get mad at them. Yeah. But in reality, they have the truth, right? You don't tell me what to eat. I eat what I want to eat. This is my body. God gave me this body. You don't like it? So you get frustrated, right? If someone say, you might want to cut out one of your debt. You might want to cut out, you may not want to buy. You don't tell me, I earned this money. It's not someone trying to tell you what to do. It's what someone is trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is trying to let you know it's a trap. I'm trying to warn you. The enemy has a plan. And as long as he can keep you in bondage to debt, then you technically are free, but you're not really free. Because many people, I gotta say this. You will never eliminate the debt that you tolerate. Whatever debt you tolerate, you will not eliminate. And certainly if you celebrate it, you ain't gonna eliminate it. Many people understand how to work for money, but few understand how money works. You got to get to a point where when you clock out, you start working for money, but your money's still working. See, your money don't clock out. Your money working while you're sleeping. There is a way where there are people who understand that principle. And what they'll do is they understand that they have worked 30, 40 years for their money. Now they stay at home and send their money to work. They say, now I'm staying home. Now it's time for my money to go to work. Which means that they have done something to put their money to work. They know how money works. They learn. It don't happen because you sit in the church. When I say that, I mean just because you sit in the church. That ain't true. It happens because you have done something different. You have learned how this principle works. And so you begin to understand this is how money works. This is how the system works. This is how people who control the money, this is how they see things. That's the change that you have to make. Okay? Y'all all right? Amen. I'm almost done. Whoops, I missed it. Knowing the cost without knowing the value is economically self-destructive. Knowing the cost without knowing the value is economically self-destructive. You all know what I mean by that? Just because you pay for something, that don't mean that's what it's valued. That's how much you pay for it. That don't mean that's the value of it. Man, I paid $500 for that, but that ain't worth $500. It may be worth $250. No, it's worth $500. Man, look at this. This is the price tag. Yeah, that's how much you paid. We know how much you paid. I'm not doubting that, but that's how much it's worth. And so a lot of people get in debt because they know the cost of everything and the value of little. Hosea 4:6 says this, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou should be no priest to me. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Now I can explain that scripture, the rest of it and all that, but I just want to get this part. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And he said, because they have rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Listen, just because you're in a church and it's teaching the word of God, it doesn't benefit you if you don't apply it. It's almost the same as not knowing it. If I have $1,000 and I didn't know I had it, and I had a $200 need, but I don't know I have my $1,000, what good is it? Even though I have it, if I don't use it, it doesn't do me any good. I got to be able to know and know I have it. So you have information, you have revelation, you have the Spirit of God, you have the angels of God, you have the authority in the name of Jesus, you are born again, blood-washed child of God. You have everything you need to be victorious, all good and perfect gift come from the Father above, in whom there is no variance. Everything you need, you have it. But if you never use it, it doesn't benefit you. It's almost as if you don't have it. Because ignorance of it is no excuse. Matter of fact, ignorance is the borrower's greatest enemy. Ignorance is the borrower's greatest enemy. The enemy of debt, or the enemy of being financially free, is ignorance. Because if you don't know, and that's the reason why we said we teach, because there are things we just didn't know. I'm telling you what I didn't know. And it cost me big time. Big time. And let me tell you something else. They call this society a capitalist society. I said it's because they capitalize on our ignorance. So, since I said ignorance is the borrower's greatest enemy, do you know the moneylenders? Do you know ignorance of finances for the moneylenders? It greatly benefit them. See, that's why they like putting stuff in small print.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
See, so when you sign agreements and it's in small print and you never read it, then you sign it and they'll say, oh yeah, we told you this interest rate was going to go up if you miss a payment to 24.9%. No, you said 10, they say, if you're late on the payment, this is what it goes up to. I found it on the hard way. I did. One time, I had taken a home equity loan out, and I put it on the charge card, and it was interest free until I got it in, I think it was like September, and it was interest free until May or something, or April or May. So I said, I can do this without paying interest. So I took that and I put my other charges on that so that I can keep that interest free. So every year when they send me another one, I would get an interest free on that. So I wasn't paying interest. And I said, oh, I got it made. So what happened, there was a bank error, a glitch, and they didn't get the money. And then when they sent me the bill, they included this interest. And I said, hey, what y'all doing? I don't owe y'all this. And they said, yes, we do. I say, no. I say, this is 0%. They said, well, you didn't get that payment in. You know it was 1 day late? You know they charged me that? I'm arguing with them. They say, well, I'm sorry. You agreed to it. I said, no, I didn't. They said, Mr. Griffin, you better read your... And I read it, and I said, you got me. You They got me once. Shame on me. Yeah, they ain't gonna get me twice. They ain't gonna get me twice. I got them. Sure did. I said, you're gonna do this. This is it. I learned.
Yes.
See, you have to learn. You have to realize they got you because you didn't read it. So from then on, I read that stuff. Let me see what they say. I don't understand it. Well, it really don't mean anything. It does mean something. It's in there.
Yes.
Scratch it out then if it don't mean anything and ditch it. But you can't really scratch it out. So hey, I got to sign this thing. I want to know what I'm signing. So anytime people that you have that you're dealing with, these lenders, Wall Street, they want you to be ignorant. You're dealing with finance, they want you to be ignorant. You go into payday loans, they want you to be ignorant. Title loans, they want you to be ignorant. These are predatory lenders. These are greedy people. And they take advantage. There are some military posts where they say you can't operate close to a military post. They make it outlaw because a lot of GIs fall for that. So they have actually outlawed them for being close to a military base, which means they are protecting their people. But they can operate around us.
Yes.
And so the only thing that will protect us is knowledge. Because they have the right to do what they do. And we have a right to not support them. But if you fall for it, I'll just do it this one time. That's how it happens, folks. One time. One time. That's why I'm taking the time to lay a foundation. So if you're really serious, folks, and you really want to do something, by this time next year, that you have reduced greatly your debt or even gotten out of debt, then I'm going to give you, not everything, but I'm going to give you the first step I would encourage you to do is you need to have your mind renewed. You need to quit thinking like everybody else who's in debt. As long as you think like them, you'll probably do the same thing they're doing. You have to understand that everyone is not trying to keep you in debt, but if they don't know, then they can't tell you. It's not that they're against you, but if they don't know, they can only tell you what they know. You know, I mean, like, I know the fix-all for everything is, come on to this altar, we're going to pray. We bind that spirit of debt in the spirit of debt. We cast debt out, just like people used to say they cast out calories. Really? I cast the calories out of this cake. Y'all think listen folks, this is what I'm talking about religion. I know it sounds humorous, but I've actually seen a person do that one time. They was ready to eat a piece of cake. I cast the calories out of this cake in Jesus' name. I looked at him like, really? And you believe those calories are gone? Okay? Folks, you got to get your mind renewed. Amen? The second step, destroying financial illiteracy. You have to destroy that. And the only way you can destroy financial illiteracy is to get knowledge about finances. That's the only way you're going to do it. It's not going to happen because you're fasting. Fasting is good. I'm not knocking any of those things. But until you do something, you're not going to get the benefit. And the third, which is the last for today, but not least, you have to take responsibility for your financial decisions. I put that last because, folks, I want you to understand something. As much as I would love to blame the devil for every mistake I make, it's not true. He doesn't have that kind of power. He doesn't have that kind of authority. He doesn't have that kind of control in your life. You have so much authority. You're making decisions. All you have to do is own them. You take responsibility. That's why when I tell you something, I'm not trying to impress you, but I'll say, man, I've done some stupid stuff with this money. I thought I was doing, and here I messed up. See, I tell you that. Many of us don't like to admit it. And I would tell you while I was in the mess. And I would say, man, I got to figure out a way to get out of this. Because many of us, we get in these situations and we think it's hopeless. It's not hopeless. No longer is God is on your side. Amen. You got to believe that sometimes people are in your circle and you don't even know what they know. They're in your circle to help you. Not necessarily pay your bills, but to tell you, here's something you might want to check out. Here's something you might want to look at. Here's something you might want to talk to so-and-so, so-and-so. You'll be surprised at some people in this church that know about finances, but you will never know because they don't say nothing because no one asked them. Well, how do we know, Pastor? Just ask them, who should I talk to if I'm trying to figure out if I want to, first of all, get out of debt? Who should I talk to? Just Tuesday, I remember reminding us of when we had Justine Peterson here and how we had people coming in trying to show you how to clean up your debt and clean up your credit report. We have done all of that. And I'm saying, but you got to be consistent. You can't make it eventful. It's got to be a lifestyle. You got to get to a point where you no longer want to have all of that stuff in your life. Clean up your debt. Clean up that stuff. Pay your bills on time. Don't charge more than what you can afford. Learn how to manage your money. Learn how to be a steward of your money. Learn how to master your card instead of your card mastering you. Learn how to take authority over the stuff that God has put in your hand. God is holding us accountable. We got to be responsible. I got a charge card. My charge card do not jump out of my pocket and spin. My charge card stays in my pocket because I control my charge card. It does not control me. When you go someplace, you have to be able to say no. You got to get to a point, folks, where you have to look at yourself and say, am I living God's best? Is there better for me? And can I make these changes and get this debt, some of this debt taken care of, all of it taken care of? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But you got to believe it. You got to get tired of that. You got to get passionate about it. You got to get to a point where you say, I'm going home. I'm going to look at everybody I owe. I'm going to look at my interest rates. I'm going to do some inventory. You can't put those bills back in the mailbox.
Amen.
Please stand to your feet.